Scene 4 of Faust. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Faust, Part 1, by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. Scene 4. The Study.
A knock. Come in. Again my quiet broken.
It is I.
Come in.
Thrice must the words be spoken.
Come in, then.
Thus thou pleasest me. I hope we will suit each other well. For now thy vapours to dispel, I come, a squire of high degree, in scarlet coat with golden trimming, a cloak in silken lustre swimming, a tall cock's feather in my hat, a long sharp sword for show or quarrel, and I advise thee brief and flat to don the self-same gay apparel, that from this den released and free, life be at last revealed to thee.
This life of earth, whatever my attire, would pain me in its wonted fashion. Too old am I to play with passion, too young to be without desire. What from the world have I to gain? Thou shalt abstain, renounce, refrain, such is the everlasting song that in the ears of all men rings, that unrelieved our whole life long, each hour in passing hoarsely sings. In very terror I at morn awake, upon the verge of bitter weeping, to see the day of disappointment break, to no one hope of mine, not one its promise keeping, that even each joy's presentiment with wilful cavil would diminish, with grinning masks of life prevent my mind its fairest work to finish. Then too, when night descends, how anxiously upon my couch of sleep I lay me. There also comes no rest to me, but some wild dream is sent to fray me. The God that in my breast is owned can deeply stir the inner sources. The God above my powers enthroned, he cannot change external forces. So by the burden of my days oppressed, death is desired, and life a thing unblessed.
And yet is never death a wholly welcome guest.
Oh, fortunate for whom, when victory glances, the bloody laurels on the brow he bindeth; whom after rapid, maddening dances, in clasping maiden arms he findeth. Oh, would that I before that spirit power, ravished and rapt from life, had sunken!
And yet by someone in that nightly hour a certain liquid was not drunken.
Eavesdropping thy pleasure seems to be.
Omniscient am I not, yet much is known to me.
Though some familiar tone, retrieving my thoughts from torment, led me on, and sweet clear echoes came, deceiving a faith bequeathed from childhood's dawn, yet now I curse whate'er entices and snares the soul with visions vain, with dazzling cheats and dear devices confines it in this cave of pain. Cursed be at once the high ambition wherewith the mind itself deludes. Cursed be the glare of apparition that on the finer sense intrudes. Cursed be the lying dream's impression of name and fame and laurelled brow. Cursed all that flatters as possession, as wife and child, as knave and plough. Cursed Mammon be, when he with treasures to restless action spurs our fate. Cursed when, for soft, indulgent leisures, he lays for us the pillows straight. Cursed be the vine's transcendent nectar, the highest favour love lets fall. Cursed also hope, cursed faith, the spectre, and cursed be patience most of all.
Woe, thou hast it destroyed, the beautiful world with powerful fist in ruin 'tis hurled, by the blow of a demigod shattered, the scattered fragments into the void we carry, deploring the beauty perished beyond restoring. Mightier for the children of men, brightlier builded again in thine own bosom, build it anew. Bid the new career commence with clearer sense, and the new songs of cheer be sung there too.
These are the small dependents who give me attendance. Hear them to deeds and passion, counsel in shrewd old fashion. Into the world of strife, out of this lonely life, that of senses and sap has betrayed thee, they would persuade thee. This nursing of the pain forego thee, that like a vulture feeds upon thy breast. The worst society thou find'st will show thee thou art a man among the rest. But it is not meant to thrust thee into the mob thou hatest. I am not one of the greatest, yet wilt thou to me entrust thy steps through life. I'll guide thee, will willingly walk beside thee, will serve thee at once and forever, with best endeavour. And if thou art satisfied, will a servant slave with thee abide.
And what shall be my counter-service therefore?
The time is long, thou needst not now insist.
No, no. The devil is an egotist, and is not apt without a why or wherefore, for God's sake, others to assist. Speak thy conditions plain and clear. With such a servant danger comes, I fear.
Here, an unwearied slave, I'll wear thy tether, and to thine every nod obedient be. When there again we come together, then shalt thou do the same for me.
The there my scruples naught increases. When thou hast dashed this world to pieces, the other then its place may fill. Here on this earth my pleasures have their sources. Yon sun beholds my sorrows in his courses, and when from these my life itself divorces, let happen all that can or will, I'll hear no more. 'Tis vain to ponder if there we cherish love or hate, or in the spheres we dream of yonder, a high or low our souls await.
In this sense even canst thou venture. Come by thyself by prompt indenture, and thou mine arts with joy shalt see. What no man ever saw, I will give to thee.
Canst thou, poor devil, give me whatsoever? When was a human soul in its supreme endeavour ever understood by such as thou? Yet hast thou food which never satiates now. The restless ruddy gold hast thou, that runs quicksilver like one's fingers through. A game whose winnings no man ever knew. A maid that even from my breast beckons my neighbour with her wanton glances. An honour's godlike zest, the meteor that a moment dances. Show me the fruits that ere they're gathered rot, and trees that daily with new leafage clothe them.
Such a demand alarms me not. Such treasures have I, and can show them. But still the time may reach us, good my friend, when peace we crave, and more luxurious diet.
When on an idler's bed I stretch myself in quiet, there let at once my record end. Canst thou with lying flattery rule me, until self-pleased myself I see? Canst thou with rich enjoyment fool me? Let that day be the last for me. The bet I offer.
Done.
And heartily. When thus I hail the moment flying, ah, still delay, thou art so fair. Then bind me in thy bonds undying, my final ruin then declare. Then let the death bell chime the token, then art thou from thy service free. The clock may stop, the hand be broken, then time be finished unto me.
Consider well, my memory good is rated.
Thou hast a perfect right thereto. My powers I have not rashly estimated. A slave am I, whate'er I do. If thine or whose, 'tis needless to debate it.
Then at the doctor's banquet, I to-day will as a servant wait behind thee. But one thing more, beyond all risk to bind thee. Give me a line or two, I pray.
Demand'st thou, pedant, too, a document? Hast never known a man, nor proved his words' intent? Is it not enough that what I speak to‐day shall stand with all my future days agreeing? In all its tides sweeps not the world away, and shall a promise bind my being? Yet this delusion in our hearts we bear, who would himself therefrom deliver. Blest he whose bosom truth makes pure and fair, no sacrifice shall he repent of ever. Nathless a parchment, writ and stamped with care, a spectre is, which all to shun endeavor. The world, alas, dies even in the pen, and wax and leather keep the lordship then. What wilt from me, base spirit? Say! Brass, marble, parchment, paper, clay, the terms with graver, quill, or chisel stated, I freely leave the choice to thee.
Why, he thyself does instantly, with eloquence exaggerated. Each leaf for such a pact is good, and to subscribe thy name thou'lt take a drop of blood.
If thou therewith art fully satisfied, so let us by the farce abide.
Blood is a juice of rarest quality.
Fear not that I this pact shall seek to sever. The promise that I make to thee is just the sum of my endeavor. I have myself inflated all too high. My proper place is thy estate. The mighty spirit deigns me no reply, and nature shuts on me her gate. The thread of thought at last is broken, and knowledge brings disgust unspoken. Let us the sensual depths explore, to quench the fervors of glowing passion. Let every marvel take form and fashion, through the impervious veil it wore. Plunge we in time's tumultuous dance, in the rush and roll of circumstance. Then may delight and distress, and worry and success alternately follow as best they can. Restless activity proves the man.
For you no bound, no time is set, whether you everywhere be trying, or snatch a rapid bliss in flying. May it agree with you what you get. Only fall to, and show no timid balking.
But thou hast heard, 'tis not of joy we're talking. I take the wildering whirl, enjoyment's keenest pain, enamoured hate, exhilarant disdain. My bosom, of its thirst for knowledge sated, shall not henceforth from any pang be rested. And all of life for all mankind created shall be within mine inmost being tested. The highest, lowest forms my soul shall borrow, shall heap upon itself their bliss and sorrow. And thus my own soul's self to all their selves expanded, I too at last shall with them all be stranded.
Believe me, who for many a thousand year the same tough meat have chewed and tasted, that from the cradle to the bier no man the ancient leaven has digested. Trust one of us, this whole supernal is made but for a God's delight. He dwells in splendor single and eternal, but us he trusts in darkness out of sight, and you he dowers with day and night.
Nay, but I will.
A good reply. One only fear still needs repeating. The art is long, the time is fleeting. Then let thyself be taught, say I. Go league thyself with a poet. Give the rein to his imagination. Then wear the crown and show it of the qualities of his creation. The courage of a lion's breed, the wild stag's speed, the Italian's fiery blood, the Nord's firm fortitude. Let him find for thee the secret thither that binds the noble and mean together, and teach thy pulses of youth and pleasure to love by rule and hate by measure. I'd like myself such a one to see. Some microcosm his name should be.
What am I, then, if 'tis denied my part the crown of all humanity to win me, whereto yearns every sense within me?
Why, on the whole, thou art what thou art. Set weeks of million curls upon thy head to raise thee, where shoes and ill in height the truth betrays thee, and thou remainest what thou art.
I feel indeed that I have made the treasure of human thought and knowledge mine in vain, and if I now sit down in restful leisure, no fount of newer strength is in my brain. I am no hair's breadth more in height, nor nearer to the infinite.
Good sir, you see the facts precisely as they are seen by each and all. We must arrange them now more wisely, before the joys of life shall pall. Why chance, both hands and feet are truly, and head and vital forces thine, yet all that I indulge in nearly, is it thence less wholly mine? If I have 6 stallions in my stall, are not their forces also lent me? I speed along, completest man of all, as though my legs were 24. Take hold then, let reflection rest, and plunge into the world with jest. I say to thee a speculative wight is like a beast on a moorland's lead, that round and round some find misleads to evil plight, while all about lie pastures fresh and green.
Then how shall we begin?
We will try a wider sphere. What place of martyrdom is here? Is it life, I ask, is it even prudence, to bore thyself and bore the students? Let neighbour Punch to that attend. Why plague thyself with thrashing straw forever? The best thou learnest in the end, thou darest not tell the youngsters never. I hear one's footsteps, he does steering.
To see him now I have no heart.
So long the poor boy waits a hearing, he must not unconsoled depart. Thy cap and mantle straightway lend me, I'll play the comedy with art.
He disguises himself.
My wits, be certain, will befriend me. But 15 minutes' time is all I need for our fine trip. Meanwhile, prepare thyself with speed.
Exit Faust. Mephistopheles in Faust's long mantle.
Reason and knowledge only thou despise, the highest strength in man that lies. Let but the lying spirit bind thee with magic works and shows that blind thee, and I shall have thee fast and sure. Fate such a bold untrammeled spirit gave him, as forwards onwards ever must endure, whose overhast impulse drave him past earthly joys he might secure. Dragged through the wildest life, will I enslave him, through flat and stale indifference, with struggling, chilling, checking, so deprave him, that to his hot insatiate sense the dream of drink shall mark, but never lave him. Refreshment shall his lips in vain implore, had he not made himself the devil's, naught could save him. Still were he lost for evermore.
A student enters.
A short time only am I here, and come, devoted and sincere, to greet and know the man of fame, whom men to me with reverence name.
Your courtesy doth flatter me. You see a man as others be. Have you, perchance, elsewhere begun?
Receive me now, I pray, as one who comes to you with courage good, somewhat of cash, and healthy blood. My mother was hardly willing to let me, but knowledge worth having I fain would get me.
Then you have reached the right place now.
I'd like to leave it, I must avow. I find these walls, these vaulted spaces, are anything but pleasant places. 'Tis all so cramped and close and mean. One sees no tree, no glimpse of green, and when the lecture halls receive me, seeing, hearing, and thinking leave me.
All that depends on habitude. So from its mother's breasts a child, at first reluctant, takes its food, but soon to see them is beguiled. Thus, at the breasts of wisdom clinging, thou wilt find each day a greater rapture bringing.
I'll hang thereon with joy and freely drain them. But tell me, pray, the proper means to gain them.
Explain before you farther speak the special faculty you seek.
I crave the highest erudition, and fain would make my acquisition all that there is in earth and heaven, in nature and science too.
Here is the genuine path for you, yet strict attention must be given.
Body and soul thereon I'll wreak, yet truly I've some inclination on summer holidays to seek a little freedom and recreation.
Use well your time. It flies so swiftly from us. But time, true order, may be won, I promise. So, friend, my views to briefly sum. First, the Collegium Logicum. There will your mind be drilled and braced, as if in Spanish boots it were laced. And thus, to graver paces brought, it will plod along the path of thought, instead of shooting here and there, a will-o'-the-wisp in murky air. Days will be spent to bid you know what once you did at a single blow, like eating and drinking, free and strong, that 1 to 3 dare to belong. Truly the fabric of mental bliss resembles a weaver's masterpiece, where 1,000 threads one treadle throws, where fly the shuttles hither and thither, unseen the threads are knit together, and an infinite combination grows. Then the philosopher steps in, and shows no otherwise it could have been. The first was so, the second so, therefore the third and fourth are so. Were not the first and second, then the third and fourth had never been. The scholars are everywhere believers, but never succeed in being weavers. He who would study organic existence first drives out the soul with rigid persistence. Then the parts in his hand he may hold and clasp, but the spiritual link is lost, alas, and carries in natures this chemistry names, nor knows how herself she banters and blames.
I cannot understand you quite.
Your mind will shortly be set aright, when you have learned all things reducing, to classify them for your using.
I feel as stupid, from all you've said, as if a mill-wheel whirled in my head.
And after, first and foremost duty, of metaphysics learn the use and beauty. See that you most profoundly gain what does not suit the human brain. A splendid word to serve you will find, for what goes in or won't go in your mind. But first, at least this half a year, to order rigidly adhere. 5 hours a day, you understand, and when the clock strikes, be on hand. Prepare beforehand for your part, with paragraphs all got by heart, so you can better watch and look, that naught is said but what is in the book, yet in thy writing as unwearied be, as did the Holy Ghost dictate to thee.
No need to tell me twice to do it. I think how useful 'tis to write. For what one has in black and white, one carries home and then goes through it.
Yet choose thyself a faculty.
I cannot reconcile myself to jurisprudence.
Nor can I therefore greatly blame you, students. I know what science this has come to be. All rights and laws are still transmitted like an eternal sickness of the race, from generation unto generation fitted and sifted round from place to place. Reason becomes a sham, beneficence a worry. Thou art a grandchild, therefore woe to thee. The right born with us, ours in verity. This to consider, there is alas no hurry.
My own disgust is strengthened by your speech. O lucky ye whom you shall teach. I've almost for theology decided.
I should not wish to see you here misguided, for as regards this science, let me hint, it is very hard to shun the false direction. There is so much secret poison lurking in it. So, like the medicine, it baffles your detection. Here, therefore, one alone, for that is best, in sooth, and simply take your master's words for truth. On words let your attention centre, then through the safest gate you will enter the temple halls of certainty.
Yet in the word must some idea be.
Of course, but only shun too over-sharp attention, for just where fails the comprehension, a word steps promptly in as deputy. With words it is excellent disputing, systems to words it is easy suiting. On words it is excellent believing, no word can ever lose a jot from thieving.
Pardon, with many questions I detain you, yet must I trouble you again. Of medicine I still would fain hear one strong word that might explain you. 3 years is but a little space, and God, who can the field embrace? If one some index could be shown, 'twere easier groping forward, truly.
Aside.
I am tired of this dry tone. Must play the devil again, and fully.
Aloud.
To grasp the spirit of medicine is easy. Learn of the great and little world you feel. To let it go at last, so please ye, just as God will. In vain that through the realms of science you may drift. Each one learns only just what learn he can. Yet he who grasps the moment's gift, he is the proper man. Well made you are, it is not to be denied. The rest a bold address will win you. If you but in yourself confide, at once confide all others in you. To lead the women learn the special feeling. Their everlasting aches and groans, in thousand tones, have all one source, one mode of healing. And if your acts are half discreet, you will always have them at your feet. A title first must draw and interest them, and show that yours all other arts exceeds. Then as a greeting you are free to touch and test them, while thus to do for years another please. You press and count the pulse's dances, and then with burning sidelong glances you clasp the swelling hips to see if tightly laced her corsets be.
That's better now. The how and where one sees.
My worthy friend, grey are all theories, and green alone life's golden tree.
I swear to you 'tis like a dream to me. Might I again presume, with trust unbounded, to hear your wisdom thoroughly expounded?
Most willingly, to what extent I may.
I cannot really go away. Allow me that my album must first reach you. Grant me this favor, I beseech you.
Assuredly.
He writes and returns the book. Reads.
Editus sicut Deus, sanctus bonum et malum.
Closes the book with reverence and withdraws.
Follow the ancient text, and the snake thou wast ordered to trample. With all the likeness to God, thou wilt yet be a sorry example.
Faust enters.
Now, whither shall we go?
As best it pleases thee. The little world, and then the great we will see. With what delight, what profit winning, shalt thou sponge through the term beginning?
Yet with the flowing beard I wear, both ease and grace will fail me there. The attempt indeed were a futile strife. I never could learn the ways of life. I feel so small before others, and thence should always find embarrassments.
My friend, thou soon shalt lose all such misgiving. Be thou but self-possessed, thou hast the art of living.
How shall we leave the house and start? Where hast thou servant, coach, and horses?
We will spread this cloak with proper art, then through the air direct our courses. But only on so bold a flight, be sure to have thy luggage light. A little burning air, which I shall soon prepare us, above the earth will nimbly bear us. And if we are light, we will travel swift and clear. I congratulate thee on thy new career.
End of scene 4. End of section.